It is spring break, and campus has never felt emptier. The silence is deafening, emptiness suffocating, and the loneliness is just unbearable. Moments like these truly enlightens me on how it feels to be an international student. I mean, I wish I could just pack my things and head home like everyone else. But home is very far away. I am truly stuck in a foreign land, missing my family, friends, and the warmth embrace of my culture. To be frank, I deliberately chose to stay on campus because I wanted to create for myself the time and the space to reflect on my life thus far. How much have I changed in my 2-year experience in America? And what ways can I improve upon my life moving forward?
So I remember when I decided to attend the University of Florida, I received a lot of cautious advice from my loved ones, all of whom were advising me of the wild Florida culture and reminding me to hold on to my faith and values. And whenever I heard anything like that, I just complacently laughed it off because I told myself that I have too many ambitions, let alone be distracted by how someone else chooses to live their life. But unsurprisingly, I felt flooded and swamped by the peer pressure. The fear of missing out became all too real, and I couldn't focus on the one most important thing in my life, my academics. And at that point, I realized I needed a remedy for this problem, which led me to two main options, which was one,
embrace my identity and stay true to who I am, but stand a higher chance of not fitting into the American and University of Florida culture. Or two, humble myself and learn the American culture and dynamics, thereby making me likable. I particularly did not prefer the latter option, since it required me to humble myself to learn the American culture and dynamics and play the game in which most Americans have spent 18 years of their life perfecting, meaning that I get to embarrass myself more often in order to learn something new, and nobody wants to be put in that position. Yet, if I wanted to stay true to myself and become confident in who I am, I stand less chance of fitting in seamlessly into the American culture because the Ghanaian culture and the American culture does not really overlap. So here's what I did, and that is a recap of my experience in the University of Florida thus far. From the moment I stepped foot at the University of Florida campus, I decided to take on a new leaf, to challenge myself in unorthodox ways, in ways that I would never challenge myself if I were to be in my right mind. And no, don't worry, don't think that deep. I didn't do anything crazy, okay? Overall, trying to step out of my comfort zone, become friends with people that I would usually not become friends with, attend events that I would usually not attend, made me become a friendlier individual. Next, I became an open-minded individual in the sense that I accepted everyone for who they were, and I was willing to listen to people and understand who they are rather than casting prejudice on them. The more I learned more about people, the more I realized that I know so little, and that humbled me because I realized that I know so little about the world because whatever I projected upon these people did not turn out to be what I found out. And I've realized that every single person on earth is genuinely interesting and intriguing, and they have a reason to act the way that they do. But consequently, as you might have already assumed, there were some drawbacks. I became less confident in the sense that I always found myself wondering, what is the most American way of responding to this question? What is the most American way of tackling this problem? What is the most American way of doing any single thing that I find myself into? And I always had to ask and learn. And that made me realize that I'm not confident. I'm not who I am. I can't fully express who I am because who I am is not American. I'm just trying to fake being American. And so I realized that I need to come back to who I am. And that is the purpose of this video, to help me realign myself to my Ghanaian identity while carrying on with the positive attitudes that I got from this challenge of trying to fit into the American and the University of Florida culture. As a result, I made some post-its encapsulating some rules of life that I need to obey in order to find myself in a sweet spot of staying true to myself and being confident in my identity, as well as fitting into the American and the University of Florida culture. It's time to talk about the first rule. Took me a little bit of time to design this poster, but this rule is kind of one of my favorites and most influential in my life so far. And it's been inspired by my favorite psychologist and author of our time, Dr. Jordan Peterson. That man is just wise. I recommend him to you. I know he has a lot of complicated political history and all that, but just ignore all of that, and I highly recommend his
Hey y'all, come look at this.
psychological analysis of the biblical stories.
Yes, sir.
I particularly love this rule because it sort of underlines a philosophical flaw that I inherited as being a Christian, which is, as a Christian, when you find yourself in situations where you feel like you are being bullied or someone is taking advantage of you, all you need to do is just step out of it. Don't create any conflict for yourself, but go and pray about it, and God is going to fight your battles for you. And so that kind of mindset made me become a passive aggressor. And it all added up together because as a Christian, I believe that whatever I'm destined to get in life, I will get it irrespective of how much I try, because God is always on my side. So this rule is kind of reminding me to be more of an active aggressor, to push and change things for myself rather than to rely on God or a creator to change things for me. Another thing is that whenever I find myself in times of struggles, instead of having a positive mindset to fight through that struggle, what I do instead is I crumble and I put on a very negative face, and I want all the world to recognize the fact that I am going through something difficult. And then when someone approaches me, Melvin, I've not seen you good lately. Is everything okay? Then all I'll be is like, yeah, I just complain and all about it. And all they will say is, oh, I'm really sorry about that, Melvin. And then I feel good. And it's like, it's so weird. Why do I feel good? By gaining other people's empathy. And that satisfaction from being recognized kind of helps me to fight the battles that I'm going through. Most of the time, we rely on other people's recognition as a source of motivation to fight the struggles that we go through. And that sort of all makes sense, because imagine finding yourself in a very difficult moment in your life and you are fighting with your last breath to get out of that situation, but no one, not even your loved ones, have a clue of all the things that you are doing to stay positive. That kind of hurts a little bit, because as humans, most of the time we want to be recognized by our efforts, and that kind of gives us the motivation to push forward. And so what this rule kind of helped me to overcome is that most of the time I have a lot of mood swings, and that is because if anything little strikes me, I just crumble and I want other people's recognition in order to stay positive and fight the problems. But this rule is kind of reminding me is that everyone in life receives the same blow. Everyone in life receives an equal level of complexity and an equal level of struggle in their life. So if I'm going through any struggle in life, instead of complaining about it all day and all night, what I should do instead is just to keep quiet and think that it is a battle that I need to overcome in order to get to the next stage of my life. And so instead of waiting for the recognition of other people in order to start fighting my battles, what I need to do instead is just stand up with my shoulders back. I have a couple of friends who are always high-spirited. Sometimes I just wonder, don't these people ever go through struggle? Because there is always a smile on their face. They always have a positive energy. But I'm not like that. I'm like, go up, go down. Today I go up, tomorrow I come down. But think about it. Our highs and lows do not synchronize with each other. So how do we communicate with each other if we were supposed to just stay within our highs and our lows? And that is why we always have to find a way to artificially engineer coming up here, even if we are low. So and that is a crucial sign, because that is a sign of a leader. You're not going to find a leader who has a lot of mood swings, always up and down. That sort of inspires me, that instead of always grudging and complaining all the time, what I have to do instead is just stand up straight with my shoulders back. Everyone in life is struggling. It's not the time for me to be just complaining all the time. Just move on with life, okay? Just keep going. So that's why I particularly love this route. Now on to the next one. After I picked the image, I realized that this image sums up my whole UWC experience, in the sense that the image is really beautiful, okay? But then there is this huge dark cloud around it, and that kind of sums up my entire emotion about the school. But then there is this seed beautiful building, the castle in the middle of it, and that is how much UWC had an impact on me, because that experience just shaped me to be an individual. Like, it just made me learn so much. And so what I have written here is that drop that mood and pride and make a friend today. So what I found in my 2-year stay in America is that making friends and creating a little family for myself is one of the most important things to keep in mind, because having someone to talk to is really important. And idleness breeds a lot of negative thoughts. Idleness makes you worry about things you don't have to worry about. So spending too much time in my head makes me very sensitive to my life and decisions, making me think that I'm very wise. And so when I see people around me not really thinking twice about whatever they do, I feel like they are not as wise as I am. And so that sort of yields this pride in me to not engage with other people, because I just see them not to be as wise as I am. For example, I was very well against the idea of having to invite your friend to go to dinner with, because I was like, why do you need your friend in order to go to dinner? Why can't you just go by yourself? So even though I had friends, what I did was that instead of inviting one of my friends to go to dinner with, I would just stand up and go to dinner myself. And do you know what happened after that? You can guess it. It's like, I'll go get my food, find a table to sit, and then everyone comes in a group, their friend group, and then they just get their food and then they find a place to sit. And so everyone is sitting on their table in their friend groups, talking and laughing and having fun. And what I find myself doing is that I'm just sitting alone. And once again, I am alone and I see people having fun. And so I become jealous of them and I start thinking negative thoughts. Their happiness is not genuine. They are not really independent. And so my pride made me want to prove that I don't have to rely on my friends all the time, because I didn't want to live a life where if I want to do something, I have to go with a friend. And I don't want that. I just wanted to be that kind of a person who can do anything that I want without having to rely on that specific friend, because I feel like people can really, disappoint you in life, and you don't want to put your eggs in one basket or something like that. So that sort of made me push a lot of people away. And when I came to UF, what I did instead was that I chose to call my friend. I'm like, hey, do you want to get dinner today? And then we go. And I realized that my life was significantly better. It's like, when I was able to get that pride out of me, and I called my friend to go to the dining hall with. Yeah, okay, I'm dependent on my friend, and so what? In the end, I'm happy, and that's supposed to be the end goal. The reason why I came up with this rule is because I just find myself thinking that I'm always wise, and the other people around me are not as wise as I am, because I spend too much time in my head. And so I need to drop that pride around me. I don't have my family around me, and I'm the only person in my family to be in America. And so I need friends. I need some sort of support system. I need a little family, and I have to be able to rely on my little family. And so I need to kill that pride in me of not calling my friends whenever I need help. And that sort of brings me to the third rule, which is, ever since I came to America, this is a very different country and a different educational system from the one that I was used to in Ghana. And so there are going to be a lot of new things that I'm not used to. In Ghana, we are not allowed to use any technology in high school. That means that my first introduction to technology as an educational tool was when I came in the US. So that meant that I was behind by a wide margin in terms of technological knowledge. And I tried my best to catch up and all that. But what I'm trying to say here is that the American educational system is very different from the one in Ghana. And it's even, I would say, way more advanced. And so there are certain things that I'm not used to in Ghana that I have to adapt over here. And these Americans have been, they've been in the educational system ever since they were born, and so they are used to it. And so that meant that I always had to seek for help all the time. I'm a very ambitious individual in the sense that I always want to solve everything by myself. This rule is sort of helping me to embrace the culture of asking for help. From my perspective, if I don't figure things out for myself and I ask for help, I feel like I'm a failure, and I need to get rid of that mindset, because yes, if I seek for help, I am a failure, and so what? Because it saves me so much time to work on other things that are equally important. And now comes probably the most important of it all, but the cringiest poster that I have ever made. And if I were to have a girlfriend and she steps in this room, I pity her, because you come to my room and you find a lot of posters of myself on the wall, and most of them are really cringy. It's like, Melvin, what are you doing here? It's like, here it is. Okay, so let me give you a little history about this picture. You can see I don't look good, and neither does my mom. But this picture was taken when I had gotten accepted into UWC, and I knew I was coming. But unfortunately for me, I didn't have a birth certificate or a passport, and I need a birth certificate in order to get a passport. So my mom and I, we traveled all the way to the capital city to make my passport, and we thought it was gonna last for a day, but it ended up lasting for 4 days, and we only had these clothes on ourselves. So that meant that we had to find a place to stay for 4 days with these same clothes. And luckily for us, there was a stranger who opened their house to us and let us in. And that guy had an iPhone, and he took this picture of us, because in Ghana, if you have an iPhone and you can take these pictures, oh my God, everyone loves you. So I assume if I were to go back to Ghana, I'll have an iPhone, so everyone will love me, right? Ghanaians, you love me, right? Because I have an iPhone. Most of the time, I get in positions where I feel like I'm all alone. So whenever I ran out of fuel for my motivation, and I doubt myself whether I'm good enough or whether I can be great, or let's say for instance I do so bad on a test. Whenever I remind myself of the journey that I've had so far, it just sort of catapults me with a burst of motivation. All that my family and friends in Ghana think of me is that Melvin was so smart that he got a scholarship to study in the US, and he must be acing it over there at this moment. And that is not true, okay? What they don't know is that sometimes I even doubt myself whether I'm good, whether I'm smart. Sometimes, like, how did I even end up here? I'm not the smartest kid, but that is not what the people in Ghana are seeing. All that they see is that they see so much potential in me. And sometimes I don't see that potential in me. So this poster, is supposed to remind me that everybody who supported my journey to the US has so much faith in me, and they believe that I can do something great even if I don't have that faith in myself. And trust me, the best way to find motivation is to know that other people have faith in you. And the latter part of it says that they await. And that is sort of very crucial, because most of the time I find myself comparing myself to other American kids. It's like I see people do this, I'm like, why can't I do that? I see people having so much fun doing whatever they want to do, and I'm like, why can't I do that also? But the await part of the poster tells me that there are so many people in Ghana who relies on my success, and I can't afford to make a stupid decision. I can't afford to fail in life. And so I need to keep my shit together, okay? I don't need to find myself in a fear of missing out. What am I missing out on? It's like it's nothing. People in Ghana are relying on you. They don't care whether you are missing out or not, okay? I am missing out on American culture. American culture is not my culture. So what I need to do is just keep my head straight, focus on why I'm here, because there are so many people in Ghana waiting for me. So this rule sort of helps me alleviate some social pressure. And on to the last part.
You want to walk with me, my baby, oh. Let's learn to crawl with me, my baby, oh. You want to run with me, my baby, oh. Sometimes you walk with me, my baby, oh. You want to fly with me, my baby, oh. Sometimes you run with me, my baby, oh. If you want to land with me, my baby, oh. Let's have to fly with me, my baby, oh. I love you, it's so easy to say, oh. I need you, I hear I'm plenty today, oh. I want you, it be like say we didn't play, oh. But I'll grow with you, I ain't gonna make one love stay, oh. Small, small, I know get you though, I know get them so cool, make you no foco, we go in lotto.
Sometimes all you gotta do is just keep the dancing shoes on, dance your heart off, and that is what I've been doing all semester. And this is the last poster, which is to keep a very high energy, and I can do so by just dancing to some songs. And sometimes I have no reason to be dancing, but I just dance, and that sort of keeps me in a good mood even though I'm in a valley. And that is one of the ways that I recommend using if you find yourself in difficult times and you have to uplift your emotions and your mood. So yeah, I also made some posters about keep the passion alive, and also I made a poster of my friends, and that is sort of to remind me of the importance of building a family around me, building a family of friends, and also to keep the passion alive. Making these videos and all that stuff sort of difficult if you find yourself in a situation where you are in university and you have a lot of work to do and all that, and it's so easy to let go of your passion. But this poster is to help me remind myself of that. So I guess there isn't a lot to say about it, and so I don't know when I'm gonna be back because college is tough, but I hope to be back soon, probably in the summer break or something, and so I hope to see you then. But for now, enjoy my dancing moves. Bye.